friends to our neighbors, hold each other's hands and fight together. The Arizona Supreme Court decision is devastating to women, girls, and Arizonans. This near total abortion ban puts the lives of people across our state at risk. This is a huge step backwards, and let's not misunderstand. This decision is about control. Control over women and control over our bodies. We know that criminalizing abortion will not stop people from having abortions. It will simply make them unsafe. People in our state are angry and confused. The doctors of our state could be facing prison. Let me be absolutely clear when I say we are in this situation because of Donald Trump. Yes. The women of Tucson and people across Arizona don't have access to abortion or reproductive health care we deserve because of Donald Trump. We deserve the right to have autonomy over our own bodies. It is the most important human right we have. If we can't make decisions over our own bodies, we are creating a class of people across our country whose rights are different in every state. And that, my friends, is absolutely wrong. And we shouldn't take it sitting down. Here in Arizona, a Ducey-appointed Supreme Court delivered a near-total abortion ban. Just like Donald Trump picked Supreme Court justices he promised would overturn Roe versus Wade. He took credit for overturning it. And he paved the way for women's rights to be attacked across our entire country. And they are not going to stop, folks. They are not going to stop. The MAGA Republican attempts to ban or restrict or criminalize abortion does not change the fact that access to abortion is needed. It is essential and even life-saving. And Donald Trump's attempt to strip away our reproductive freedoms does not change the fact that 9 out of 10 Arizonans agree that people deserve the right to have access to abortion and reproductive health care. Arizonans believe, and we believe, that politicians like Donald Trump shouldn't be in the middle of that decision. Again, if we cannot make decisions about our own bodies ourselves, then what is it that we have? What type of human rights do we have? Because of Donald Trump, millions of women, girls, and people across our country have lost fundamental freedoms to control their own bodies. And now our lives are in danger because of that. The question is, if Donald Trump is returned to the White House, what freedom do we lose next? President Biden and our wonderful, dear Vice President Harris believe that your rights and personal freedoms are worth protecting. President Biden and Vice President Harris are fighting like hell to restore women's fundamental freedoms in this country. But they cannot do it alone. They need each and every one of us. Women and our families everywhere are going to need to turn out to vote because our collective fundamental freedoms are under attack, and we need each and every one of you, each and every one of your family members, each and every one of our daughters, each and every one of our neighbors. We need to turn out, and guess what? The secret, and it's not a secret anymore, the secret, or not secret anymore, to winning Arizona is through Tucson. So we need you all to vote. We need you all to vote. And we need to make sure that President Biden and Vice President Harris return to the White House in 2024. So let's get energized. Let's get this frustration and anger and energize ourselves and our communities and our families to make this state blue again. Welcome to Tucson, Vice President Harris. I'm so happy to have you here, and we will win through Tucson. We will win Arizona in 2024.
Please welcome State Senator Eva Birch.
Hello, everybody. My name is Senator Eva Birch. I am a legislator, I am a medical provider, and I am an abortion patient. I am so honored to be here today with so many other champions for reproductive freedom, including, of course, Vice President Kamala Harris. Last month, as many of you probably already know, I shared my abortion story. I wanted to be pregnant, but my pregnancy was not viable. I shared this story on the floor of the Arizona Senate. I didn't do that because I thought I should have to. I'm exhausted of explaining myself to people who want to make my decisions for me. But it was an opportunity to bring people with me and to break open the conversation about abortion care and abortion patients. After I shared my story, I received a phone call from Vice President Harris. And she thanked me for sharing my most personal moments to the world. And I was struck with this memory of sitting on my couch, sandwiched between my two little boys, with tears rolling down my cheeks, watching the first female vice president be sworn into office. And at that moment, I realized just how lucky we are as a country to have compassionate and brave leaders like Vice President Harris who understand the true harms of abortion bans on women across this country, on women like me. I know that it's hard for people to share the most private moments of their lives in a time when they are feeling loss, when they're feeling vulnerability. But it's moments like those that remind people of how much is at stake if we don't speak out. And today I am livid that in spite of all of our progress, we have rolled the clock back 160 years here in Arizona. The decision about when and how to start a family belongs to all of us as individuals. It belongs to me and to nobody else. And now that decision, yeah, you know what? Me. It belongs to me. But now that decision is being stripped away by extremist politicians and extremist judges. And the decision is going to criminalize doctors and providers for doing their jobs. Under no circumstances should the Supreme Court of Arizona have even dignified an effort to impose a complete ban on abortion that was drafted before women had a say. Women, we are going to have our say. This decision is a hurdle in the fight for reproductive freedoms, but it will not set us back if we keep pushing forward. And I know you all know that there's a ballot initiative that Arizonans are currently collecting signatures for that would enshrine abortion access into the Constitution. We have to make that a primary focus for us in November. And because Arizona is an absolute battleground, it is the battleground for abortion here in this country, we have a real opportunity to flip both the House and the Senate here on the local level. For the sake of Arizona families, we cannot let extremist Republicans hold on to power for even one more year. We have to flip the state legislature and restore access to reproductive freedom here once and for all, and we must re-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to protect abortion not only just here in Arizona, but nationwide. I want to thank you all for being here with us today, but please stay with us until November. When? November. When? November. When? November. Stay with us.
Please welcome health care advocate Yesenia Gomez.
Today at this important time in reproductive rights for our state and our country. My name is Yesenia Gomez Gamboa. I'm a local immigration attorney and a native Tucsonan, and today I'm here to tell you my abortion story. In October of 2021, 2 weeks after my now husband left for his second deployment, I found out that I was 4 weeks pregnant. However, I quickly realized that something wasn't right. And after 3 weeks of doctor's visits and ultrasounds and many blood tests, my doctor told me that I had an ectopic pregnancy and that it was not viable. An ectopic pregnancy happens anytime that the embryo attaches itself outside of the uterus, and in my case, it was my left fallopian tube. When left untreated, ectopic pregnancies can be life-threatening, so eventually my fallopian tube could burst and I would need emergency surgery. Luckily, the very next day, I was able to go into the hospital and get an abortion. After 3 hours in the hospital, I got a methotrexate shot, which, by the way, hurts. And I was able to go home. The easiest part of this whole ordeal was my abortion. Access to a quick and safe abortion saved my life and my fertility, and now because of that, my husband and I are turning to IVF to start our family. However, 7 months after my abortion, in June of 2022, the U.S. Supreme Court delivered their decision overturning Roe v. Wade and taking away rights that we have relied on for 50 years. There's one person responsible for that decision, and that is Donald Trump. He continues to brag about his role in unleashing extreme abortion bans across the country. This very week, the Arizona Supreme Court issued a ruling reviving a near total abortion ban from 1864. Exactly. The Arizona Supreme Court's decision makes me very afraid. Afraid that my doctor will be too scared to perform an abortion as promptly as last time. Afraid to walk around with a ticking time bomb until I need emergency surgery. Or afraid that by the time that my have enough danger to get medical assistance, it will be too late. My story is not the only one, however. Many women in the state have been making the same decisions and grappling with the same heartbreak that I did. Their stories matter and are the reason we cannot give up the fight for reproductive rights in this state and in this country. Yeah. And with that, it is my honor to introduce our champion, historic leader in the fight for reproductive freedom, who warned of this, who is fighting for us, who is prosecuting the case against Trump, the first woman vice president in U.S. history, Kamala Harris.
What is a private, personal matter, and you do it for the sake of all of the people who must hear and must understand, and to remind so many women that they're not alone. You're a great leader. Thank you, Yesenia. Where is Mayor Romero? There she is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're an extraordinary leader. The mayor and her daughter met me on the the tarmac as Doug and I got off of Air Force Two. And I want to thank you for the warm welcome and for your courageous leadership as well. It's good to be here. Thank you. And it is good to be here with the next United States Senator from this state of Arizona, Ruben Gallego. And I have worked with Ruben, and I will tell you, he is a tireless fighter for the people and families of Arizona and an essential partner to President Biden and me. Representatives, we have wanted to be here today. I know that we are all praying for him. His wife is here, and I said to her, you know, the thing I love about Raul, he is such a fighter, and he's a street fighter. Like, he is a fighter. He is a fighter. And so we know he's going to be okay, and we are thinking of him as he begins his treatment for cancer. I want to thank as well my dear friend and the President of Reproductive Freedom for All, Minnie Timaraju. Where is she? Thank you, Minnie, for your leadership. And a special thank you to all the organizers in Arizona who are collecting signatures to put the right to reproductive freedom on the ballot and in the state constitution. And to the thousands of organizers from across our nation who are joining us virtually today. And I also want to thank the Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, and all the other leaders of the Arizona State Legislature, including, of course, Senator Eva Bursch, who so bravely shared her story. Thank you for your incredible courage and determination. Freedom to make decisions about one's own body and not have the government telling people what to do. Women. Laws that threaten doctors and nurses with prison time, even for they have turned back the clock to the 1800s to take away a woman's most fundamental right, the right to make decisions about her own body. This decision by the Arizona State Supreme Court now means women here, the women here, live under one of the most extreme abortion bans in our nation. No exception for rape or incest, prison time for doctors and nurses, and abortion made illegal before most women even know they're pregnant. The overturning of Roe was, without any question, a seismic event, and this ban here in Arizona is one of the biggest aftershocks yet. And understand, this law was passed in the 1800s before Arizona was even a state, before women could even vote. What has happened here in Arizona is a new inflection point. It has demonstrated once and for all that overturning Roe was just the opening act of a larger strategy to take women's rights and freedoms, part of a full-on attack, state by state, on reproductive freedom.
It's the Republicans.
And we all must understand who is to blame. Former President Donald Trump did this. During his campaign in 2016, Donald Trump said women should be punished for seeking an abortion. Don't forget that. He said women should be punished. As President Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court because he intended for them to overturn Roe, and as he intended, they did. And now, because of Donald Trump, more than 20 states in our nation have bans. Now, because of Donald Trump, 1 in 3 women of reproductive age in our country live in a state that has a Trump abortion ban. And let us understand the impact of these Trump abortion bans, the horrific reality that women face every single day now in our country. Because since Roe was overturned, we all know the stories, and I'll tell you, I have met women who were refused care during a miscarriage. I met a woman who went to the emergency room and was turned away repeatedly because the doctors were afraid they might be thrown in jail for helping her. And it was only when she developed sepsis that she received care. I visited a clinic in Minnesota and met with courageous, dedicated medical professionals who see clinics like theirs forced to close, denying women across our country access to essential and life-saving care, breast cancer screenings, contraceptive care, PAPs. Donald Trump is the architect of this healthcare crisis.
Yes, he is.
And that is not a fact, by the way, that he hides. In fact, he brags about it. Just this week, he said that he is, quote, proudly the person responsible for overturning Roe. Proudly responsible for the pain and suffering of millions of women and families. Proudly responsible that he took your freedoms. And just minutes ago, standing beside Speaker Johnson, Donald Trump just said the collection of state bans is, quote, working the way it is supposed to. And as much harm as he has already caused, a second Trump term would be even worse. Donald Trump's friends in the United States Congress are trying to pass a national ban. And understand, a national ban would outlaw abortion in every state, even states like New York and California. And now, Trump wants us to believe he will not sign a national ban. Enough with the gaslighting. Enough with the gaslighting. We all know if Donald Trump gets the chance, he will sign a national abortion ban. And how do we know? Just look at his record. Just look at the facts. Y'all know I'm a former prosecutor. Just look at the facts. Congress tried to pass a national abortion ban in 2017. And the then President Trump endorsed it and promised to sign it if it got on his desk. Well, the great Maya Angelou once said, when someone tells you who they are, believe them the first time. Donald Trump has told us who he is. And notice that Team Trump have an additional plan to attack reproductive freedom. A plan that they intend to implement on day one, even without Congress. They want to use another law from the 1800s. It's called the Comstock Act. To education across states, if it's legal or not. So here's what a second: more bans, more suffering. Just like he did in Arizona, he wants to take America back to the 1800s. Are not going to happen. Because still, 2024, not the 1800s, and we're not going back. We are not. Joe Biden and I trust women to know what is in their own best interest. Women trust all of us to fight to protect their most fundamental freedom. This down the ballot, reproductive freedom is at stake, and you have the power to protect it with your vote.
Yes.
It is your power that will put this right in the Arizona state constitution and elect the state legislature States Congress who simply agree. This is all we want. Simply agree that the government should not be making these personal decisions for other people. And it is your power that will send Joe Biden and me back to the White House. And when Congress passes a law that restores the reproductive freedoms of Roe, Joe Biden will sign it into law. So in conclusion, I say, it is going to take all of us to get there. It's going to take every single one of us. And momentum is on our side. Think about it. Since Roe was overturned, every time reproductive freedom has been on the ballot, the people of America have voted for freedom. Think about it. From Kansas to California to Kentucky, in Michigan, Montana, Vermont, and Ohio, the people of America have voted for freedom. And not just by a little, but often by overwhelming margins, proving also that this is not just a partisan issue. Proving that the voice of the people has been heard and will be heard. So today I ask, Arizona, are you ready to make your voices heard?